What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the August Love Story podcast. I'm your host, Tommy T. It's my beautiful wife.
I never know what we're doing here. My name is Artieka.
So would you like for me to say my beautiful wife or Artieka T or
whatever you feel like you need to say? I put your own sauce on it.
That's my sauce.
Okay, put it on there.
Sprinkle a little bit on it.
Sprinkle it on.
And today we are talking about the effects of reality TV on marriages, in our opinion. But before we get into it, make sure we go over a few rules. No, I'm just playing. But if you're watching on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and then also leave a comment because we would love to get into this conversation with you guys as well. So like we always do on our podcast, let's start it off with a conversation starter.
Actually, I'm going to let you pick 67 or 68.
68, so I owe you one.
Oh, hush. What is your ideal way to socialize with friends? How do you feel about entertaining in our home?
Oh, I love it. I like socializing with friends over beer or whiskey, barbecue, some type of seafood, outside at the house.
That's your ideal way.
Yeah, with some like a cigar or something to smoke, and that's chilling on a nice, brisk, sunny day, afternoon and evening. Good food, good conversation. Like, I think that's the best chill way. And I don't know where it is in the Bible, but it says something about being a host. I read it one time and I was like, yep, I'm sold. But I have no clue where it is in the Bible.
I'm trying not to be petty.
I wish I could find it again. I'm going to look for it.
Okay.
But I read it somewhere in there.
My ideal way is
probably
to have
like nobody around.
To have a grandmother or an elder woman around to at least help balance some of the children.
Yeah.
It usually, like, another mom is helpful, but it's usually more helpful when there's like a grandmother around. Like, I remember the one time we had both my mom and your aunt here, and it was just like, I can sit down and actually enjoy the people being here because I don't get to enjoy the people being here.
Man, that was a good time.
It was.
It's a real good time. We were watching the football games, had them both set up in one in the living room, one in the den, and, kicking it, Was that it?
At the bottom, it says, a friend is one of the nicest things you can have and one of the best things you can be.
Yep. I believe that. Anyway, so to get into this topic, it actually came from me from watching all of this reality TV we watch. If you guys don't know,
reality TV.
I'm talking about Married at First Sight.
Oh, you said all.
like you consume a lot.
I do. More, not as much as I used to.
More than me. Yeah. Like you used to watch Love and Hip Hop.
All.
Yeah.
All.
It was a lot of them. What else? Love and Hip Hop. The Real Housewives.
Some.
You watch that now, like Potomac in Atlanta.
I watch Married to Medicine.
Married to Medicine. Now we got Married at First Sight. And you got all these other shows like I think what is it, 90 Day Fiance or something like that.
Yeah,
I've never watched it.
I've never watched it either.
But it's a show,
I tried to watch it and I bowed out in like 5 minutes.
I couldn't get over the dude with no neck.
I don't even know who that is.
Right. But you got so many more. You got Ready to Love. You got Put a Ring on It. It's like, and my question that we're getting into is there a negative effect on what we see in reality TV because the facade that is real, or is there a positive effect on from the idea of reality TV because of we know that it's I don't want to say made up, but a story to it. Like everything has a storyline.
The marriage aspect of it, or in general?
Just we can get into both, like the marriage aspect of it, and then the relationship aspect of it.
So with the marriage part of it, I will say that I can see how there can be a negative effect, but I can also see how there can be a positive effect because some of the shows that you watch do show marriages and how they can, like, what's the word I want to use?
I don't know.
It shows the positive sides of marriage, right?
Yeah.
One thing that sticks out in my mind is on Married to Medicine. There was one season when Simone and Cecil were actually talking about getting a divorce.
Yeah.
And all of their friends rallied around them and was like, y'all need to get counseling. Y'all need to do whatever y'all got to do, but you guys should be together. There is not an issue that you guys have that's big enough that should be leading to divorce.
Yeah.
And so they're still married now. And they feel like everybody, their words, not mine, rallying around them and helping them through it was positive for them. But then you can also have the negative aspects of it where, you know, especially with a lot of these shows where the women are the focal point of the show, and then these men get newfound fame, being adjacent to their reality TV show star wives or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you hear about all these other things that are going on, the infidelity and stuff like that. And that can be a detractor for a marriage. Not to say that that's everybody's story, but it could be some people's story. So I can see both sides of it, but I think that you also have to look at it from a standpoint of, am I ever going to live a life like this?
Right.
And most of the time it's no. And I'm not even saying from the glitz and glamorous side of you living in $1 million home and all those things, because different people can obtain different things, right?
Yeah.
But from the standpoint of, am I about to be stuck talking to people that I don't even like for a paycheck?
Yeah.
No.
But, the thought process in that whole reality TV thing is representation, right? Because a lot of it that we watch together, we're looking for the black couples because we don't see a lot of the black couples in everyday life.
I think it's the pollen.
We don't see the black couples in everyday life to be able to be successful, be married in a positive relationship, and then you get to what you're watching on TV. A lot of times we mimic what we see on TV. We dream of that, like the hashtag relationship goals. We see that and we're like, man, I would love to do that. I would love to be this and stuff like that. And so what we're seeing on TV, I don't feel like it's a real representation sometimes because the story you gave about the couple on Married to Medicine, that's something that happens. But a lot of times it's we look at Real Housewives of Atlanta or just the Real Housewives part. Most times people aren't going to hang around people that they don't get along with. You know? And it's going to be like that for couples too.
I think that's, and this is a total sidebar of what we're talking about, but like in general, I think that's why I like a show like Married to Medicine, because it didn't feel like it was a forced friend group.
Yeah.
Like these were people who, for the most part, were and still are hanging out with each other outside of a camera crew.
Right. Like we like the purpose of us, right, talking about our marriage, it's one for, it's helpful for me. That's one, but, and I don't know if it's helpful for you, but being able to have topics and you talk about them and stuff like that. But two, it also makes it real. It makes the situation, like you go through a situation and you thinking about, like, what have you seen that's in this, like, how did people handle this situation? And it gives a point of people argue, people in relationships, people in marriage, they argue, they fuss with each other. They may not like each other. They're always going to love each other. All these things are going to be the setup, but they all don't have to end in divorce. They all don't end in divorce. And that's something that I feel like that's what we see on reality TV. I take Married at First Sight, for example, because the idea of the experiment is experts choose these couples to marry each other for 8 weeks. And whatever makes them experts. I know Pastor Cal's a pastor who does marriage counseling. You got Dr. Pepper, who's a therapist. The other doctors that were on there, Dr. V was the last one that actually had was a constant expert. She was a sex therapist. All of those things are important in marriage. So they are the expert. They pick and choose who gets married and stuff. And then depending on the person, they got 8 weeks to make a decision on if they want to stay married. So it's like the idea of that, it should work. But the I guess the error or the margin of error in that equation is the tools being used, because if you have access to all the tools, a therapist, other couples is going through the same thing, that immediately become a exclusive group of people. The idea that this person is a stranger, because that can be used as a positive. That
is always the part about this show that I think pisses me off the most.
That people say, "Oh, you're a stranger,"
but they say it like they didn't know that Married at First Sight was going to be somebody they didn't know.
They didn't know.
I'm gonna have to live with them. That's crazy.
That's crazy, B. Man, that's crazy. But just the idea of that experiment, it should be able to work. But it's like, are you really doing the things that you need to do for it to work? And that's where I think that's why I think where reality TV messes up real life.
Okay.
Is that everything doesn't have to lead to divorce. I don't believe. Now, it is some things that, hey, it's a 50-50 shot. Like, marriage is a 50-50, but it's like certain things that you can do that, like, okay, you tipping towards divorce, right? But it's like, for the most part, if you don't cross that line that most people have, which some people it's cheating, some people it's finances. If you don't cross that line, everything else doesn't have to end in divorce. And I feel like,
I think a lot of the viewers also push for divorce, because something that sticks out in my mind, and I don't know if you watched in a while, but Love and Marriage Huntsville, right?
I stopped watching that because of I felt like they did it for TV. Like, we're going to do this for TV and not
this is my real life.
Right.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that. But one of the things that I see all the time, like, because, people watch TV shows. You have people like us who review a show on YouTube. And then you also have people who like I have a high school classmate who, when she watches a show and it was a good episode or like the season is ending, she gives her thoughts. But she does this for like award shows and everything.
Yeah.
I see so many people who post things like this and they're like, Tisha needs to leave him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if she wants to stay, who are you?
Right. And see, that's the effect.
And it's like, for me, I don't feel like we, the people, have enough data to be like, you need to leave.
Right.
Because I don't know what was going on. Because there's so much stuff that happens behind the scenes that you're not privy to. Like outside of shooting. And then even when you're shooting an episode, so much stuff can be taken out of context. Yeah. And people are like, well, she needs to leave. And it's like, nah, I'm not gonna say that.
but it's almost like marriage is fun, but it's boring. You know? And what reality TV is trying to do is pull the gotcha moments out and highlight those things. It's one thing for us to sit back and review it, but it's another thing for somebody to be like, this is their life. Like everybody that's on a reality TV show or having some type of success from it, like, congratulations to them. I don't want to be a hater of them or anything like that.
I always want for people that are doing reality TV to do more than reality TV.
Yeah.
If you've got millions of people tuning in on a single night to watch you do something, be a Candy Burris.
Be a Cardi B.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like give me something else to gravitate towards, because this can end at any moment. Like you have Cardi who she chose to not be on the show anymore.
Right.
And I think that was great for her. And then you have people like Candy who are choosing to still do the show because she's like, where else am I going to go and get paid to do what I was already going to do? Start a business. Yeah, I might have to do some little petty stuff here and there with other people that I don't really care for. But she's also parlayed that into new shows and new opportunities for not just herself, but for her family. And like, when I see that, I'm like, man, I'm supposed to be like, Candy taking care of Todd. I'm like, well, let me be Todd then.
Right.
I don't see anything wrong with this.
I don't either. But that's the thing. That's the beauty of reality TV, being able to finesse it into other things to take care of your family. And as a consumer, when we see it, we're just looking for the juicy stuff. But if you deep dive into like these relationships, it's a bigger strain on them.
It is, because your relationship gets put in the public eye. Everything becomes so critical, like overly criticized. Like a simple, I keep using reality TV, obviously, because we're talking about it. But like Candace from Real Housewives of Potomac and her husband, Chris. Chris sold his restaurant during the pandemic and people were like, he broke. I'm like, who was eating at a restaurant during the pandemic?
Nobody.
So you thought he was just supposed to just throw all his money into it and keep it just so you could be like, well, at least he still got that restaurant.
It's like people not even thinking about great business moves.
And then the people that said it lost their business before the pandemic. So it's like, you want to talk about this person and his business acumen?
Yeah.
But look at your business flopped.
Right. So I that's like, it's crazy because I think especially showing Black couples on TV in a light that's quote unquote real life helps a lot of young Black people and young minorities, with how they deal with relationships. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I used to watch the Cosby Show, right? Mm-hmm. And I used to think, well, separating the artist from the art, Heathcliff Huxtable and Claire Huxtable were some of the best parents I've ever seen in my life. Right? And for them to have so many kids, for them to be able to parent those kids in a way that a lot of us didn't get parented. That stood out to me. But then you look at it now, even though that was a sitcom, right? Because then they, reality TV, we ain't doing that. Look what he was doing in real life. Right. He's allegedly. Or did he got convicted for it?
He got convicted.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
I still don't know how he home, but he got convicted.
Yeah. You fast forward to now, and what we have is the reality TV. We have more reality TV shows than we do sitcoms, showing couples doing positive things versus trying to find the thing that's going to get these couples caught. And it's not about that when it comes to relationships and dealing with people, because not every day you're going to sit up here and argue with the same people about
not any day.
Right. Most people are going to be like, well, I'm just not going to hang around this person no more. Or I'm not going to do that.
It's like, not even that. Like, I can't see myself wasting time. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
Time is one of the most precious things that I personally feel
time is the only thing we don't get back.
Right. But I'm saying, like, for me, because, like, we got 2 small kids, pulled thin. You trying to operate everything else that you have in your life. The last thing that I have is time for somebody that I'm not wanting to deal with.
Right.
So I'm quick to hit you with you can get out my face.
Right. I ain't got time for that, man.
All right, bye.
Right.
Like, and that's with anything.
But my rebuttal to that whole thing, to the, the negative sides of it, reality TV has bonded us in a lot of different ways. Like it'll be, I didn't watch Real Housewives of Atlanta or Potomac or Love and Hip Hop until I would catch it, be like, well, what's going on here? And I sit down, like it was funny. I laughed at myself. Because I was like, I think Real Housewives of Potomac
they just finished their reunion.
Just finished. And you watched like the first part. And I came in, dang, you watched it without me?
I was about to start watching part 3. And you was like, we watched this. I was like, no, we don't. We do not watch this.
Right.
I watch this and you dip in and out.
Right. But it's like, it's that quality time or that time spent together, because we don't watch Married at First Sight together, but we talk about it together.
Every so often we watch it together.
But it's like those little things are the positive sides of reality TV, because it brings you together. It makes it where our stuff ain't that bad. You
feel like I was
no. I don't think we go through our thing, and stuff like that. But it's like we can sit back and be like, yeah, look at them, kind of thing. And it's like we'll sit back and be like, man, that was stupid, or and stuff like that. So it's almost like it helps you bond with your spouse in a manner that you wouldn't find it anywhere else. Because if we watch a sitcom, we're going to laugh, like The Neighborhood. We watch that, we laugh, but the focal point is not on them being a couple. Focal point is on whatever the show.
It's pretty much Calvin.
Right.
Ain't that his name?
Yeah, that's Calvin. It's a great show. But we laugh and we move on past it. But with the reality TV, the realness of it causes us to actually go in and discuss some of the things that we see. Mm-hmm. Like, this is stupid. This is dumb. Why would they do this? Or, oh, I like that thing, mm-hmm. type of deal. So, overall, man, I think I like that we have reality TV because it gives an opportunity for more people to be successful in a light that they didn't have 20, 30 years ago.
I just wish that, okay, so I always hate when people are like, y'all don't want to watch anything positive. I'm like, I've watched a lot of positive reality TV shows. They get canceled.
Like what?
Lala, Anthony.
I never watched that.
She had Lala's Full Court Life. Mm. There was no drama on her show. And it got canceled.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the we have to produce a show that people are interested in looking at. Mm-hmm. Like, we as a people are interested in looking at chaos.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's funny because that was the initial premise of Love and Marriage Huntsville, as well as Married to Medicine. Mm-hmm. It was not supposed to highlight the mess.
Yeah.
Like, Married to Medicine was like, let me take you into the world of doctors and their wives. Yeah. Or doctors and their husbands, because some of them are women doctors. Mm-hmm. But it then became about the mess.
Because what puts butts in the seat?
Because people want the mess.
Yeah.
But they want the mess, and then they want to complain about the mess, but that's what they want.
Yeah. It'd be a boring show if it wasn't there.
And honestly, I don't think that these shows have to be boring. I think that there's always something very intriguing. There's always going to be disagreements, right? Mm-hmm. But there's always parts of people on the show that are very intriguing that they don't let you in on.
Like, I think my biggest gripe with all these shows, except Married at First Sight and Put a Ring on It, is that
Put a Ring on It was a mess.
They always, the last time they were doing it was crazy. But those folks are working. Who? The people that was on Put a Ring on It, those folks are working. I've seen them on a few sketches with Country Wayne.
Oh. Well,
but what I was going to say before you say that is they include love and marriage and all these relationship words. Mm-hmm. And it's like...
relationship words.
Yeah, right. Lovey-dovey words. But it's like, don't include those. Change the name. And say this is real life. Reality TV.
You can't change the name once the show's premise changes, right?
Right.
And so I think that's why a lot of these shows get stuck. Mm-hmm. Because like Real Housewives.
At one point in time, it was only one person married on that show in Atlanta, I think. One or two.
I don't remember. I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's right. I would have to go season by season to be like,
Like my thing would be, it's like, in order to be on this show, you gotta be married.
And so I think where the issue with that is that if you have a dynamic enough character, you're going to keep them, because then you're gonna have people staying married to collect a check.
Yeah.
And so.
No, I get it, man. But it's like, that's what the gripe is for me. It's like, hey, how, like, you put the name in the title, and then us as humans, we are what we consume. Mm-hmm. So if we watching Real Housewives and it's only one person that's married, who in that case is like the focal point is on everybody else, like what are you telling the masses? Like, what message is getting to the masses from that?
I guess I don't look at it that way.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, let's talk about it because it's out there. You know what I'm saying? It's way out there because you're not influenced by TV like that.
No, I think that the thing that changed my viewpoint of certain aspects of life has been television, but it was not necessarily that this is TV. It was like when you see something on TV and then it happens in real life and you're in the middle of it and you're like, man, this is pretty cool. Like going to someone's home to like a charity dinner or something, like doing that is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
But that's something that the average person isn't doing. Yeah. Or something that you've been wanting to do, we just haven't figured it out. Taking couples like vacations. It's something that happens. I actually know someone that does that annually with their friends, but it's not the norm in a lot of circles. Right. So watching these things happen and trying to like pull the positives out of it to, I don't want to say necessarily imitate, but duplicate it in a way in your life
that fits your.
Because I don't want to go and do like a couple's something with people that I don't fool with.
Right,
it just doesn't work for me.
It doesn't make sense.
But if you take that negative part of it out, like we could all go to the cabins in the mountains. Man, I looked up the places they went. It's not really that expensive. Right. We should do it.
Yeah.
Then saying, okay, you can hire a chef because your thought process before seeing it is that doesn't exist. But then you see it and you're like, this life does exist and it's not necessarily unattainable.
Right.
It's just on a different scale. So.
Nah, I get you.
It's finding the balance.
Right. But most people that's watching them, me included, I'm just looking for
You looking for the mess.
When they gonna fight?
And I'm not looking for the fight.
I know I was pissed off when they like stopped fighting and started throwing water on each other.
And I've never wanted to see people fighting nor throw water. But I also look at throwing water might mean that we might need to fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, like who thought to throw water anyway?
But not on camera though.
But I think
I get you, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, I think reality TV has its good moments and its positive sides because it's allowing more people that wouldn't get any type of notoriety. And also it's definitely putting relationships in the forefront, right? Sometimes positive or negative, but you're seeing married people dealing with each other. The negative side of it is you have to decipher if this real or fake. Is this real or is this manufactured? And I think that's what that piece right there is. This manufactured is what hurts the consumer in watching reality TV. So, yeah, that's our show, man. What's our lyrics for this episode?
So I was listening to a podcast the other day, probably about a week ago, and they were talking about women in hip hop. And so then I had YouTube Music create me a women in hip hop playlist. I think it was YouTube Music. But Missy Elliott came on. And I was like, man, Missy Elliott really ran an era of our lives as far as music is concerned. And then she ran it back as an EP. Yeah. Like, Missy Elliott has an amazing career. So I just picked a random Missy Elliott song, which was Sock It To Me. And she said, I was looking for affection, so I decided to go. Swing that in my direction. I'll be out of control. Let's take it to perfection, just you and me. Let's see if you can bring the nasty out of me. I don't know why I picked that
I was
song.
singing that whole thing in my head.
Well, we were singing it before
anyway,
we started recording.
Ooh, ah, Sock it to me like you want to. Ooh. Anyway, well, guys, that is our episode. I can appreciate you guys for listening to another episode of the August Love Story podcast.
I was gonna do air horns. Pew pew pew.
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, if you haven't already, go subscribe to the YouTube channel, August Love Story. Check us out on wherever you're listening to podcasts at. Google Music, Apple Music, Podcasts, Spotify. Wherever you listen to it, we're there. Check us out. Also, check out all our other stuff. Follow us on Instagram at August Love Story, Facebook at August Love Story, TikTok, August Love Story.
Oh yeah, we do have a TikTok.
Yeah. More content is on YouTube now. Mm-hmm. And yeah, stay tuned for more from us.
Yep.
With that being said, all minds are clear. I'm Tommy T. This is my wife, Artieka, and we are out.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.